Welcome to the CJ Silas Show YouTube channel. We have this cool idea. We're gonna look at pictures of my life and career, and I'm just gonna share them with you. Enjoy. YouTube channel. Click subscribe. Here we are. This is me and my friend and colleague, Steve Mason, behind the bar at Border Grill. It was when I was covering the O.J. Simpson trial and doing hits for his radio show, but I was also working at a bar at night. And he lost a bet. I don't remember what the bet was. On the show, we did a bet live on the radio show, and him losing the bet meant he had to come and work in the bar with me one night. So this is Steve Mason from Mason and Ireland on 710 LA ESPN, coming and working in the bar with me. I think it's like 1995 or 96. Oh my gosh, this one kind of brings back not so awesome memories. So when I was in between jobs, when I'd come back from ESPN and Nebraska and I came back to California to help ESPN2 get off the ground, I was also working in a restaurant called Border Grill. And I was on the Border Grill softball team. But because Border Grill didn't have enough people to field a full team, we partnered with two other restaurants in the restaurant league to field one team. We've partnered with Chasen's in Beverly Hills and Mezzaluna in Brentwood. And that's where Ron Goldman worked. So Ron Goldman and I were on the same softball team. I was a second baseman, he was a shortstop. And this is a picture of the year we won the championship after he was murdered. And you can see there's a little, I think it's an R on our shoulders for Ron. So awful, so awful. And OJ did kill him. No alleged this and alleged that. Sorry. This photo from 1989, when I was in Syracuse, New York, and one of my best friends from college, who I'm still friends with, Amy Bell, she was a photography major, and she needed to do this all white clothed photo shoot. So we went into the studio in Newhouse building on the campus of Syracuse. I dressed in all white, I wore white makeup, and I had my poofy California hair. This was so long ago. So when I left ESPN, I ended up going to an NBC station to learn how to do video and all the stuff, writing and editing and everything. And I went to a little TV station in a garage, basically, KHAS TV, channel 5, where I had to shoot my own video. I had to find white balance. I had to dress like a professional. I had to go out and find stories. It was so difficult and awful. 4 months, 3 weeks, and 6 days. I learned a lot. It helped me build resilience, but the news director later in life was convicted of crimes because he was inappropriate and freaky deaky weird. Nebraska. This was my last week at ESPN when I was leaving in the late spring of 1992, and I was moving to Nebraska, and this is me and Shireen. We went and sat on the SportsCenter set and got a picture of us one of the last few days I was at ESPN Bristol. Worldwide leader. This is from my time at ESPN when my best girlfriend from ESPN and I, Shireen, we hijacked or party crashed the fantasy baseball draft in the ESPN. They called it a cafeteria then. It's probably called a commissary now because it's so much bigger. It was a teeny little room with like an apple, a banana, and a ham and cheese sandwich. And Dan Patrick was in there. I think I'm sitting right next to him. And then next to him was a producer, Jeff Schneider. Awful, inappropriate, weird. This, 1993 or 94, the French Open in Paris. I was working for Extra Sports 690 Sports Radio in San Diego and LA, and I was working for John Ireland and Steve Mason on their show. And I went to the French Open, and my boyfriend at the time worked at ESPN, so I was hanging out with him and all of my former friends because I just left ESPN a couple years earlier. And this is a picture of me and Robin Roberts before she left ESPN and went to GMA. And we were at a Greek restaurant where we got to throw plates and dance and oompa, or whatever they say. It was so fun. Vita Scarlatus was there that night. We played pool. Mary Carrillo. We had a great time. This, my first ever marathon, March of 1995, the LA Marathon. It rained, it was sunny, it was crazy. I'd always been a runner, but not a distance runner, and I just decided that I was going to do a marathon, and that was the first one I did in honor of growing up and being born and raised in LA. My very first car, an MGBTG. It was a 1977 MGB convertible, white with black interior, black soft top, and the stripe on the side. My first car! Oh my goodness, one of my mentors, one of the most incredible mentors who still to this day cheers for me. I think he's retired. He was the voice of the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles for years. John Cox, he was my counselor at Sportscasters Camps of America at Loyola Marymount University in LA in 1989. John Cox. So amazing! I actually did run track at USC, not very successfully, but there's Gail Devers and LaWanda Cabell. Who was that? Gervais McGraw. This was us, USC track, when I came in last place in the 200 meter. I think I ran at 29.9, it's so slow. And then one of my coaches at USC was a volunteer coach who was a silver medalist in the Olympics for Jamaica, Donald Corey, we called him DQ. He was kind of my personal coach helper to try to get me better. Not sure it worked. My first time ever playing golf in Bristol, Connecticut, with one of my bestest friends who recently passed away, Calvin Haywood, and one of my other bestest friends, Kahuna, Steve Anthony, who was a director. Calvin on your left was a director. Kahuna was an associate producer and then was promoted to director later. Two of my best guy friends from ESPN. Oh, there's a good picture of us. And then there was a softball team that the ESPN company had playing all around Hartford, Connecticut, and it was called the Barnstormers. And this was in 1991-92. That's when I was blonde, and there's Calvin. There was a time in my life that I thought I was gonna get to sportscasting through acting. And so after my freshman year at USC, I started auditioning for shows, and I got a recurring role on the TV series Fame. And here are a couple pictures. This is me and Tony Ray, and Ann Nelson, who played Mrs. Berg, Gene Anthony Ray, who played Leroy, Jesse Borrego and Billy Huffsey on the Fame set. Me and Tony Ray. This was the holiday episode, and me and Carrie Hamilton and Michael Cerveris on the set of Fame. Can you believe that? That was so long ago. So there was a time in my life that I thought I might leave sports because I had this horrible time in Nebraska. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. It was before the O.J. Simpson trial, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and I decided that I wanted to go and make a difference in the world. And I had gone for a run one morning, and I left cash that I was taking to the bank in my car, and it got stolen. And I got really upset, like, what's wrong with my city? I need to help make my city better. I'm going to go do something. I'm going to get out of this sports business, and I'm going to go do something to give back to the community. And I actually went to an all-female LA County firefighter training. This is me. I went through this training, and then I actually applied for Highland Park, Beverly Hills, LA City, LA County. I think I even applied for Seattle. There was a time in my life I thought I wanted to be a firefighter. What the what? Thank you for watching the first installment. It's a chronological-ish history of my life and my career through old still photos.